the Expendables movies. I've never seen these films before, and I watched them because, frankly, you can get this trilogy set really cheap. Now, there's 3 movies. You can get it for $10. I bought this at Walmart for $10. Now, there are 4Ks of these. The 4Ks remain not that expensive. They're about $15 a piece. There's not a 4K trilogy set for some reason, which I don't understand, but there's a 4K individuals of all the movies. I opted for the Blu-ray because it was just cheaper. I didn't need to pay like $35 for these movies. I just paid $10 for these movies, and I'm fine with that. And I'm glad I made that decision after watching them because I did not love these movies. I enjoyed them. Here's where my enjoyment comes from. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone, all these people in this movie are the stars of it, and it's about them, these older dudes kicking ass. And as that concept, it's fun. At least the first 2 are really fun, but they're not as fun as they could be. I think the action in these movies is really boring, and I wish they'd play. And what I don't like about these movies is it feels like it should be more tongue-in-cheek about how the action and the tone of these movies should be, because it's all these action stars from the 80s and 90s basically in this movie, doing their thing. But what made a lot of those movies in the 80s and 90s for the most part so much fun, and why so many people liked them, is because they were cheesy, because they were kind of ridiculous. Even the ones that people like more, like Terminator 2 and stuff, that kind of thing. It's cheesy, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's playing around, that kind of vibe to it. This takes itself a little too seriously, and the action is not very good in the sense that it's not well put together. I can't remember a single action scene. I just remember that there was action. That's all I really remember about these movies, which is unfortunate because the whole point of this movie is the action, and it doesn't have memorable action scenes whatsoever because they're just boringly directed. They're not that interesting. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the first 2. Now let's get on my thoughts on the third one. So after the third or the first 2, they changed the radar. They changed the third one to PG-13, which is a weird choice because these are all action stars that people have grown up with, and that's why it was so cool of a novelty of these different action stars people had seen before crossing over together. But these are all 40-plus older dudes. This isn't a movie that teenagers aren't going to want to watch 40-plus older dudes, kicking ass. They just aren't. And yeah, I mean, and so, it was dumbed down. The action was even worse. It got more ridiculous. It was just dumb, and it just didn't work. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on these movies. I don't really have too much to say about it. I thought I should put out a review because they did announce a cast list like a couple weeks ago for an Expendables movie 4, which if I ever review that movie, which I probably will, then, I thought I should have reviews for the first 3. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Expendables movies.